Hi guys, it's Alex McCann here from Manchester-based social media company Altrincham HQ, and we're here for Alex and his sisters and our guest interviewer, Susan Wheatcroft from Virtual Runner UK. Hi, Susan.
Hello. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. It's really great that we can do these interviews via Zoom and have people from all around the country attend Alex and Sisters. So I'm going to give everyone an intro to Susan and a little bit of way of background. So Susan Wheatcroft is the founder of Virtual Runner UK, an online fitness company which inspires and motivates people to achieve their goals in their own time whilst raising money for charity. Virtual Runner is a multi-award-winning enterprise which to date has raised over £600,000 for worthwhile causes. And in her personal life, Susan enjoys running anything from 5Ks to half marathons, to marathons actually, full marathons, spending time with her dogs, family, and a little reading. So first question, we're going to start right at the beginning. So you launched Virtual Runner in 2014, and two questions come to mind in this. Firstly, running didn't seem to be as popular 7 years ago, and virtual runs certainly not. So how did you start up the business, and how certain were you of its success?
Well, Virtual Runner is actually the original virtual racing company. Well, as you said, it's well before pandemics and virtual racing were actually a huge thing. So for me, as I was a new runner in 2013, so the idea for the business started in 2013, and I was a new runner, well, basically I worked in the media, the local press, and the editor at the time, I was one of the senior managers. The editor at the time had been diagnosed with cancer, and he asked me to raise some money whilst he couldn't run. He said, go and do a half marathon, because everybody donates money for the first time you do a half marathon. Now, he sadly died and had actually gifted me a place in our local half marathon. So obviously the pressure was on to start running, but it changed my life, because I was a bit of a gym goer, but never ran. And I had 8 weeks, which for anybody that knows running, 8 weeks from not running to doing a half marathon is really quick. So between myself and my colleagues, we ended up with 30 of us running our local half marathon in Nottingham. And we raised over £10,000 for Maggie's cancer care in memory of the editor. From there, my own running journey kind of started. That I loved running, but one of the things that I loved about running was the buzz of finishing a race and getting a reward for it. So that was where part A of Virtual Runner came in, where the reward of getting medals. So that's one part of why the business started. And then the second one is I actually went on from doing my first half marathon to very quickly signing up to my first marathon. So within 6 months of running, I did complete it. I completed my first ever London marathon, and the charity angle for the business came in there. Now, Virtual Runner wasn't actually created as a business. It was me. I guess it was a little bit selfish, actually. It was something I wanted, because I wanted to race against others in my own time and get rewards for it. And it was particularly, as you kind of alluded, running maybe wasn't quite as popular, so there wasn't winter races as there are now. So it was filling a gap of where there were no races. So that's where that came in. And then as part of initially it was all of the money went to charity, and then I realized that actually this was going to keep me quite busy, so it moved from helping me raise money for my London Marathon charity to becoming a full-time business.
It sounds fantastic. We're going to delve into all of this in a second, but I mean, as you said, there weren't winter races, and the races for a runner really do motivate you. It's what keeps you training in between just your average day to day, and then you've got a race to gear towards, where in Manchester it'll be the Manchester Half, Manchester 10K or so on. But I think I've done your virtual runs in between runs just so I've got something to keep going for. And
it's that focus, isn't it? And I must admit, I learned quite a lot about myself when I set up the business, in terms of I need a personal challenge. So particularly during lockdown, I've kind of set myself that I have to do my 10,000 steps a day, or I have to drink my 2 litres of water a day. And if I make them little challenges, I actually do them. So I learned a lot about myself, and I realised I wasn't on my own for that. So that was where the kind of I'll ask people to do something and they will get a reward for doing that thing, and an exercise thing for me.
And you just mentioned it then, actually, your background. So your background was, you said, in newspapers, in marketing. Sports Direct was a big name you worked for. I would say they're B2B skills. So how did you use those sort of B2B marketing skills? Then you had to jump and go, I'm going to market to the wider public, which for a new business could be harder.
Yeah, true. I was circulation director for the media. So actually my job was, whilst dealing with editors and advertising, I actually did deal with the public, because my main role there was making sure the papers printed and got out to the retailers, and included everything from who did paper rounds right up to dealing with Tesco's and Morrison's and everything in between. But I guess one of the other parts of my role was dealing with events and social media for papers themselves. So it was actually about selling their products. So I did deal with consumers quite a bit. But I think with Virtual Runner, it became quite different to what had been I don't want to say one's a career and one's a job, but and one's definitely a passion, and you'll probably tell which one was which. But Virtual Runner was born out of a passion. So talking to our customers, I don't really feel like they're customers. They've become, it's a community, my business. It kind of formed a community first and became a business second. So the money was almost secondary to it. And I know that sounds a bit strange for what is now a business, but it was, so actually talking to the consumers becomes quite natural. You can tell I like talking anyway, and I particularly like talking about sport. So, and if somebody likes talking about what I'm liking talking about, I found it quite a natural progression. That was a woolly answer, but hopefully that makes sense.
Oh, don't worry. So you talked about obviously how it became about, and you did this run for your boss, and you raised £30,000. The first official virtual runner run.
Yeah.
Can you remember how it went in terms of number of runners, number of people?
So the very first one was January 2014, and we had a 5K and a 10K option, with 2 medals that were very, very basic. It was £5 to enter, and we had just over 300. I always say that I had over 300 entries, and it just about was enough to hit my London Marathon fundraising targets. That was why it kind of sticks in my mind. So month 1, 300. To give you an idea of where we are now, I regularly kind of send out roughly 5,000 medals a month worldwide.
That is some growth from 300 to 5,000 in this period of time.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So did you consider that 300 a success at the time? Like, what was that what you were aiming for?
No, well, I think because I alluded that I didn't actually set it up as a business. So actually 300, I was gobsmacked. I think I basically came up with the idea for virtual running on a Sunday night, mentioned it to my husband, and he was like, oh gosh, here she goes again. Within a few hours, I'd set up a Facebook page, a Twitter page. I don't think Instagram was quite as popular there, so that followed later. So I had my Facebook, and then I started dabbling and created my own website, which was all completely new to me. I'd put it out in a couple of running forums, so I guess like networking for runners, and a few people were like, wow, absolutely love that idea and love the fact that it's going to Charities. So that's where I got my runners from. I think we very quickly went to 500 or 600 runners. And for the first 3 years of my business, don't listen to this, Alex, too much, I didn't do any marketing. It was all completely organic. I think partly because the concept was so new. And I basically found people that were like-minded and just maybe didn't have time to go to races, or didn't have the confidence to go to races, or for whatever reason, but still wanted to have that sense of achievement.
Good. I mean, as you said, when you've got a niche, and when you've got something new, and when you've got that tribe, you maybe don't need to do as much marketing. Obviously now,
king, yeah. And like, I can't really say that I've got a marketing degree and I worked in marketing for 15 years, so I obviously know the power and the importance of marketing. But it was almost we trended number 1 on Google. Well, we still do now, but we trended number 1 on Google for virtual races because we were the only one. So I didn't have to fight with anybody. Social media, I pride myself on communication and quality of our products and super speedy service. So we were getting quite a lot of recommendations coming through. So I didn't really have to, well, I didn't pay for marketing for over 3 years.
Oh no, that's great. And then the one thing you mentioned is the quality of your product. So the medals you give away for each race, I mean, you said at the beginning when you did the first one, they were quite basic and so on. But I know when I go on your website, I literally go,
yeah. There's some behind me. I don't know if you can really see them, but
I can see a couple of them. But I mean, I know when I go into Virtual Runner, I'm literally, what's the best looking medal? I'm going to go for that one.
All
so
about the bling.
How do you pick your medals?
So quite often it's seasonal maybe. So for now we're just starting to get towards spring. So we've got Easter ones coming up, and we've got spring halves that have got rabbits on it. And then it might also be I don't know, something topical in the news. So we recently did something for Captain Tom when he very sadly passed away, and we did like a Pride of Britain style event. So it's really just, and quite often I'm kind of inspired by what our community members want. So they might say to me, oh, my daughter's really got into running, she absolutely loves unicorns, and there goes the unicorn, I've come up with a unicorn medal. Or quite often, to be honest, my ideas generally come while I'm either out running or in my chill time. So I'll be sat watching TV and I'll be like, right, pause that would make a cracking medal, or the idea of it. So that's really where the ideas come from.
So who designs them? Is it you? Have you got a team of designers?
No, it's me. So everything in the business, so from packing and sending the medals, and I get a little bit of support from family friends there, but everything in the business is me. And I do get support from the manufacturers in kind of tweaking and making sure that the actual concept that I've come up can actually make a medal. But everything from the finances to marketing, social media management, everything, all of it in between is all me. And I do get help when we have our busy times to almost just deal with the admin of like actually processing and sending people's products out, basically.
Oh, we'll come to your time management a little bit later on that. You've just highlighted something that I really want to delve into. So you said obviously Virtual Runner charity was always part of the business. It was inspirational for the business. How do you select which charities you're going to raise for which medal and so on?
So again, this becomes down to our community, basically our customers. So on our website, I really should stop doing it. I say we and our, but it is me. And I think partly because we have a perception of being a big business. The
royal we.
The we, yes. I think we all do it. And so when I say we, it's hilarious me. But basically our customers, the community, can nominate for the charities that they want to see to benefit from future events. And then essentially I work through that list, and at the moment there's well over 600 on that list that have been nominated. I essentially contact the charities, and if they're happy with the activity that we're doing, they then become one of the next charities that we support and fundraise for. So that was quite an easy one.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. You got 600 that really want your support. So I mean, when you look back on that charity side of what you do, and you think, you've raised £600,000 for worthwhile causes, how does that make you feel?
There's really only one word for it. I feel a tremendous sense of pride for that, because I'm particularly at the moment, I know many charities are struggling with fundraising, and the amounts of money that we've been able to give them has been kind of changing, or just dramatically important just now. So yeah, very proud. I don't think many businesses give away 20% of their revenue, and it's something that proud.
Yeah. So can you remember that first time, like the first landmark figure you hit, like when you first hit 100,000 raised for charity and all that?
Gosh, I remember the first time we hit £1,000. I was literally, because the £1,000 was actually it was £2,000 I had to raise for charity for my London Marathon place. So I can remember hitting that, because that was such a big sense of achievement. So I could go and do the London Marathon without having to keep begging people for sponsorship, because I'd kind of done it in a different way. I remember, and we mark every achievement. So the biggest one recently was the 600,000, and probably the biggest was the 500,000. And obviously the next one's going to be when we get the million. But honestly, I kind of celebrate the achievements that every charity gets, because particularly in a pandemic, like I said, the money does make such a difference to particularly the small charities, but actually just now to all charities.
Yeah, we just raised, we do a charity event each February called Altrincham versus Cancer, and we raised over £5,000 this year. But they told me when I did an interview with them just before we started, they'd lost 25% of their income during the pandemic, which goes to show a charity as important as the Christie's lost 25% of their funding is absolutely crazy.
Well, and that's so it. If we lost 25% of our business, we'd know about it. So it is, and not the charities don't really have to do, well, they don't have to do anything if they don't want to with my events. So they almost get some money for doing nothing, which I know is also key because they're also busy.
Definitely. So, I mean, talking busy, you are obviously talking growth, and you just said that it's pretty much just you and a few family members. And before you mentioned you send 5,000 medals a month. Yeah. Do you personally sit there and pack them and stamp them and envelope them up?
Yes, essentially. However, I've got some great friends, basically as fellow runners and fellow runners' parents who just love what I do, and they'll kind of come and pick medals up and bring them back all nicely packed. So I'm sat, so the bit here is all the medals. So if I pull one out, they're all ready. So they're packed and ready to go with the label on. So literally as somebody earns it, their address goes on it and they go. So a lot of it's about being organised and just making sure that the resources. So I do get help, but I physically touch every single medal that my customers get. So because I do it on my own. So but I love being busy. I always have done, and so I can survive on quite a small amount of hours of sleep. It's just the way I function. So I'm an early bird. I get up about 6 o'clock every day and make sure exercise is one of my first things in my day, because it just sets me off in the right step and a good positive mindset. And then I'll crack on with whatever comes in. So yes, busy, but I love it.
So you just said then you get up at 6 o'clock, you survive on a small amount of sleep. How many hours do you actually work on an average week to do everything you do?
It does vary. So there's kind of peaks in the business, which are the start and the end of the month, and those weeks I will easily work between 80 to 100 hours. But the middle weeks, which we're in now, it's a little bit more relaxed. So I go back to normal. I'm going to say normal working hours, but when you work for yourself, there is no such thing. And I think, you know what, it's quite often with Virtual Runner, I don't find it doesn't feel like work, because I genuinely love what I do, and the feedback that I get from customers is so positive. But if I answer a query at 10 o'clock at night, it's not necessarily because I've signed into work. It's because I genuinely want to help the person. And I've probably said it 100 times now, but I'm very passionate about what I do, and I just genuinely love it. So yes, I work very obscure hours. But one of the good things is working for myself is that I can be flexible to kind of pick my son up and do reading with him and homeschooling or whatever else life gets thrown at us.
80 hours is absolutely crazy at sometimes. But I think, as Roy Castle said on Record Breakers, dedication is what you need. I think his catchphrase used to be in the 80s or 90s. So I want to talk about you as an individual now in terms of running. Do you find that since you set up Virtual Runner, you do more or less running, or exactly the same as you used to?
Now I've just said how busy I am, but actually I run more. And I think there's a couple of things. So when I set up the business, running was new to me. So whilst I was a little bit daft and signed up to a marathon quite quickly, I was rigidly stuck to a training plan, only ran 3, maybe 4 times a week maximum. Gradually built up my running. So if in the first week I'd ran 5k, I then did 6k the following week, and then 7, 8, and just kind of gradually stepped it up. Whereas now, because Virtual Runner's heading to, we're in the 8th year of the business, I'm more experienced in my running because I have been running now for that length of time too. And I have done ultra marathons, so I've done 100k run. I know that I'm going to come across really mental when I talk about my running, but I now I actually, other than Sunday, I'd ran every day this year, just because I almost felt like it was my one escape of the day. We were allowed to exercise once a day. For me, my passion's running. So I'd lace up my trainers and go. I now also run, I do canicross, which is where you get attached to your dog and you run fast. So I also enjoy that because I've got 3 dogs and it's a lot easier to run them than and try and take 3 of them out for a walk when we're only allowed out once a day. So yeah, running, I think, well, I mentioned it in the chat earlier with one of my achievements this year, but I've now I'm heading towards 1000k for the year. And obviously we're only into month 3. And when I first started running, I probably only ran about 500k in the whole year. But yes, so I do a lot of running. And it's my thinking time.
Yeah, that's a lot though. Like even when you said you started, it was 500k in a year. I think I did last year, and I thought it was really good. I think I did 1,100k in the whole year. So the whole last.
Good. It's brilliant. Like I think any achievement in whether it's walking, running, cycling, just getting out and being active is an achievement, and it's personal. So I started on those bases and lower. So it's just been a progression for me. Partly it's my job. Like I practice what I preach, essentially, that I can't really be telling everybody else to go out for a run and then sitting and maybe I'm sat on the sofa with one of the ladies having Prosecco that got mentioned earlier, which I do. That's one of the reasons I run. But yeah, I just, running's my one escape. It's my me time. And I quite often, I don't know, I go out with a busy mind and I come back with a bit more of a comprehensive to-do list. And sometimes I can achieve that by running 5k, sometimes I've got to run 20 miles, but either way, I kind of get there. So yeah, I do love my running.
Yeah, it definitely clears the mind. So going back to business again, obviously running's an achievement in itself, but you're multi-award winning. How important for you are the awards for the business?
I guess it's quite a low priority for the business. I think it's always nice just to prove that we are, that it's genuine, I guess. So particularly for new customers coming in, it just shows that we've got credentials essentially. And I think particularly when it was a new idea, it was great because having been a company director in the media, and we actually put awards on for people to win. I kind of know how important it is for an individual. So, but actually for me, if I win an award, it's because of the fabulous community I've got behind me that support me as a business. But yeah, we've won some really big ones. So we've won national kind of website awards for our concept. We've won running awards, which are obviously a little bit more niche to our business. So yeah, I think they've got a place, but actually they wouldn't stop me doing my day-to-day. But I don't necessarily go and apply to win awards. I've won them because somebody's acknowledged what we've done. I don't sit and fill the forms in, and not there's anything wrong with that. I just haven't got time. I'd prefer to spend time making sure another 10 people get into running or continue running or start walking or cycling or something.
Yeah, nice bonus on the top.
Yeah.
So
and I do display them. They're all sat here. They are displayed and they are key, but they're just not my main driver for doing the business.
So you've obviously just mentioned a few things that they help you stand out, they help you build credibility, and obviously since you started, you were the first, and obviously since then there's become competition from other virtual running companies. How do you keep standing out? How do you keep standing out when there's more of you?
I think one thing that I will always have is the history. So being the long-standing, the original, people have, I think if they'd heard of the concept and used us before, they are very confident to come back to us because, as I said earlier, we have very good service levels. I post 6 times a week. So generally people's medals go in the post pretty much the same day as when they send me their achievements. So it's a very quick turnaround. I think the other thing that we've got that maybe some of the others haven't is they haven't got me. So I'm the face of the business. So quite often businesses, and it's not right for every business. But I practice what I preach. I talk about my own running journey. I talk about the highs and the lows of running and exercising, and hopefully people find that motivating. So they haven't got me. And then we also, quite early into the business, I created a closed Facebook group, which is where, for me, all the magic happens in the business because people talk about my business and sell my products without me even getting involved. And there's 20,000 of them in there. and our competitors don't have that. And even if you start it, they were so much further behind that to gain 20,000, I mean, we can all buy likes, but actually getting people in a closed group to naturally engage with each other and in such a lovely manner. There's such a brilliant group of people. It's a bit like this, but just in more of a chat function. And well, you all know how Facebook groups work, and they just talk about running. They absolutely love my concept. They look after me. So if there's maybe a bit of spam in there, they're all over it, telling me about it. So it's an absolute brilliant bunch of people. But that for me is where the magic happens with the business.
So there's a few tips to unwrap there. Put a face to it, which is really important, and also build a really strong community. I need a double check if I'm part of your Facebook group. I'm part of a few running groups, and they merge into a few, so I need a double check after.
There are a lot, but they are such. And I mean, I am biased, obviously, but there's some brilliant characters in ours, and yeah, they're just. I think because they feel like, well, it almost feels like it's a big bunch of friends because you've got something in common with them, and people do. Well, I think people have actually met in real life, and so it's absolutely lovely. And that for me, the fact that it is a business and I get money for it is just absolutely the icing on the cake. But the community is brilliant.
So we're going to obviously mention the pandemic now, which we have to, because we have to mention it in every interview in the last 12 months. But we all wish it kind of wouldn't have happened. We all know that. But for you as a business, has it been good or bad for business? I.e., are there more people doing virtual runs, or is the fact that every other running event is now turned it into a virtual run? Is that bad? And so how's it been for you?
We've been one of the business success cases during the pandemic. So I saw growth of roughly 20% through last year. So we were already busy. Now, whilst I've got more competitors than I've ever had, including huge names like the London Marathon who did a virtual, we've kind of remained the foundation of, because, well, we remain one of the biggest with the biggest range with the community. So actually everything just got busy last year. The downside for me in the pandemic was at that point I would have drafted staff in, but because working from home and what felt morally right, I just had to keep powering on and did it all on my own. So to date, I haven't had a day off during the pandemic. So I've worked 7 days a week, just because, almost because partly there's nothing better to do. So I might as well crack on and keep up to date with business and support new customers that are coming in. So yes, we've been very busy is the summary of the pandemic, and it's not showing any signs of slowing down yet, even though there's talk of live races restarting.
So with that in mind, then what are your plans for 2021, 2022? Because you said there's plans, I think park runs starting early June.
Yeah.
Races might be happening in July possibly, or even early, I don't know yet. But so what are your plans? Is there any growth? What's the plans for the business?
To be honest, so at the moment I've kind of, well, I can see that we're going to maintain levels of last year. So I've already launched races and I've already designed all the medals right through to December. So it's already all calendared, ready to go. As I said, I kind of have to be organised in the business because otherwise I just wouldn't survive a week. And so it's very much, it sounds a little bit boring, but it's almost much of the same because physically I can't take any more growth. So the only way I could grow now is by taking staff on, and obviously you then have to pedal a bit faster in order to get the same kind of revenue in. So for now, I'm very happy with the growth levels that we've achieved. It's been an absolutely tremendous 12 months. And obviously if I can maintain that, I will be one very, very happy running business lady.
Fantastic. So we're at the end of the interview now. If anyone's been inspired, if you've maybe been running and you want to go and get some more bling and you want to go and get some more medals, or maybe you're not a runner and you want to start running and you want to start with a virtual one at 5K, 10K, whatever you want to do, where do people find out about Virtual Runner? Where's your socials? Where's your website? So
website is virtualrunneruk.com. Social media, essentially if you type in Virtual Runner UK, we're on all of them. So we're recently I'm on Clubhouse, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm personally Susan Wheatcroft, and we do have a business page. LinkedIn for me is probably the one I don't use quite as much because we're B2C, not really B2B, so I don't post on there too much. And then Instagram and Twitter, we have it's almost like Union Jack colours logos, so we do stand out on there. So, and I'd love to hear from, because it was nice speaking to somebody or some people in the breakout room. So but also it's not just running, it's walking, cycling, swimming when we're allowed back in the pools. So it's almost, we just reward for getting active. And it's great to see that some people progress from maybe starting with us with walking, and then they kind of start running because they get inspired by the rest of the community.
Fantastic. So options for everyone. That's
everybody,
fantastic.
yes, but always medals.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your time, Susan. We're going to bid you farewell for our people watching on video, and we're going to spend a little bit more time with people who've joined us for Alex and his sisters. But thanks again, Susan.
No, thank you.